Hey everyone, today's video will cover NFL. So we're going to do the NFL on Wednesdays. And today I'm going to show you how to create a basic plot. We're going to look at actually NFL defenses through the first 12 weeks. And it's pretty simple how you can do this. There's just a lot of great stuff, but we'll use kind of some of this stuff as a precursor for future videos. So, to get started, we'll load in two packages, so nflreadr and nflplotR, and actually, a third one, tidyverse. And if you don't have these packages installed, just simply install.packages, and in quotes you put nflreadr, nflplotR, etc. Now that we have those packages in there, we're going to get the play-by-play data for the NFL season. So instead of saying load PBP, we're going to say load participation and say include PBP equals true. So the load participation automatically defaults to the most recent season, so 2023. If you want to do multiple seasons, you can. Just simply seasons equals combined, 2021 to 2023 if you want multiple years. But the reason why we're doing this, you might get this warning message. It's not, or a note, I should say. It's not really an issue there, but it allows you to pull play-by-play data, and you have a lot. So you have game IDs, but the participation allows you to see the offensive personnel, the defensive personnel, by player IDs who are involved on the field. So in a future video, I'll show you how to basically pull those apart and then get, like, if you wanted to get like snap counts to see like who's on the field a lot, and for potential future modeling. So we pull our PBP, and now what we're going to do is we're going to look at which teams send the most amount of average pass rushers and figure out their EPA, or expected points added, based upon the average amount of pass rushers. Like, do they have success with pass rushing on average, and this can be another future thing, because there's another type of charting that we'll do in future videos called FTN, and they provide some really cool data points that was only available for last year and this year. And so they're adding it. Now, the data points for each week are a little bit delayed, so right around this time is when you'll start to get games from Sunday and Monday night. But being able to see, like, is the ball catchable? Did the QB go out of scramble out of pocket? What type of read the QB throws, like a first read, a second read, check down, others. But that will be in future videos. We're going to look at simply on passes, on average, how many teams send pass rushers, or what's the average amount of pass rushers by team, and then in terms of expected points added, based upon the average amount of pass rushers, are they getting success based upon the pass rush? So we'll just call this Blitz EPA, or actually I should say Pass Rush EPA, and we'll do PPP. We'll say filter pass equals 1, group by the defensive team. So filter and group by all under ggplot, which is under tidyverse, and we'll say summarize plays equals n. Average pass rushers, which is, we're going to round the average of the number of pass rushers and remove NAs just in case, and we're going to round it just 3 decimal points. And then the last thing we'll add is EPA, which again is the average EPA, so essentially EPA per play. And so we'll pull this data in, except it's saying end pass rushers. Okay, so it's actually number of pass rushers, not end pass rushers. So I messed up there, but feel free to look at the play-by-play data. There is quite a bit there. So instead of saying end pass rushers, it's number of pass rushers. And then let's do our ggplot. So we can use ggplot2, ggplot. Again, it's all under tidyverse. So let me rerun this line of code and kind of show you what it looks like. So we have different types of EPA, plus the average amount of pass rushers per the nflreadr package. So Minnesota has the most average pass rushers, as they do blitz a lot. And they do a good job of blitzing a lot. I'm completely blanking on their defensive coordinator, so I apologize, Vikings fans, for not memorizing the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, but he is known to blitz a lot. And again, this is through Week 12's game. So ggplot, pass rush, EPA, AES, X equals average pass rushers, Y equals EPA. And then from the nflplotR package, we use geomean lines. And again, map our aesthetic. So x0 equals average pass rushers. So across the league, what's the average amount of pass rushers? And then what's the average amount of EPA? Again, and this is on a per play basis, because we're taking the average of the EPA. So it's again on a per play basis. We want to get some logos in there, so Geom NFL logos, AES, team, ABBR, so it's just team abbreviation, equals def team, because again, the column is defensive team. We want to see how defenses fare with a pass rush. And then let's make sure the width is a little bit smaller, so we'll just say width equals 0.055. Feel free to adjust accordingly. However, but if you set width as 1, you'll just be able to see giant logos on giant logos. Let's add a classic theme. Let's add a title, so EPA per play on average amount of pass rushers. And then our subtitle will simply just be 2023 season through Week 12. Add some labels, so XLab is average amount of pass rushers, and then our Y label is EPA per play. And then we'll add more labels, so caption, data is from nflreadr, and then plot. Put whatever you want, but always shout out the Twitter account. So we're going to run this, and it should appear here. So run it. Give it a second or two to load. So feel free to zoom in on this. And so I'm going to zoom in on this. You probably won't see it on my screen, but we can kind of walk through it a little bit. So we see that the Vikings on average have the most amount of pass rushers on passing plays, and they have a negative EPA per play, which is good. Defensively, you want negative EPA per play. So the team that rushes the most but give up a positive EPA per play are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Technically, you could say the Giants, but they're right around average. And then the most successful team in terms of EPA per play defensively are the Cleveland Browns. And they send right around 4.4-ish on average amount of pass rushers. And then we have the Kansas City Chiefs, who are rather successful, the Cowboys. So the teams that have really good defenses, like all down here, have done very well this season. You know, and at least 4 of these 5 teams down here have a good offense that hasn't been plagued by injuries. You know, the Browns with Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson being out, it kind of affects them in some way, shape, form, and so still having like an elite defense, especially on pass rush, you know, it helps having Myles Garrett, but a lot of these can be affected with some of the better pass rushers. So, you know, think Browns Myles Garrett, Cowboys Micah Parsons, Chiefs Chris Jones, Steelers obviously have TJ Watt. The Ravens have Roquan Smith. The Giants, the 49ers have just about everyone on there. Randy Gregory, other guys that they have acquired too. Chase Young's going to add to that as well, but you know they send less pass rushers according to average. So like another way to look at this too is, you know, teams that are successful without sending a pass rush, that kind of speaks to their secondary too, because hey, we're going to send less guys but have more guys in coverage. So like the Dolphins are really good at this, especially with Jalen Ramsey coming back. The Jets with Sauce Gardner. The Seahawks are right around average, but they have really good cornerback play in Reek Woolen and Devin Witherspoon too. So this is kind of an interesting way to look at things, but this is just a short introduction into nflreadr and nflplotR to basically start the conversation into going into NFL analytics. So we're looking at pass rushing and EPA per play. We can look at offensive stuff later and different kinds of metrics that will be added on in the future. But thank you so much for watching.